Hello. I'm going to show you how to latch a baby onto the breast in a way that is going to promote the best milk intake by the baby, as well as promote the best comfort for the mom. Babies are really great at getting themselves stuck on here and sucking really well, but a lot of the times they may position themselves on here in a way that is not comfortable for mom. This may result in them not getting as much breast milk, and it also may result in a lot of discomfort and pain for mom and ultimately cracked, bleeding, or sore nipples, which we want to avoid. The first things when we're talking about breastfeeding is that there's a good little rhyme that the British use, which is called tummy to mummy, nose to nips, tuck in the hips to open the lips. And if you can remember that, at least the first two parts, that does a lot of good. The reason that we want tummy to mummy, or tummy onto mom's body, is because whenever we eat or drink something, you're not typically going to drink something or eat something with your head turned to the side like this. It would just be kind of awkward. Let's say this is a sandwich, and then chewing it down. It would be weird. We tend to eat with our head such that it is in line with our shoulders and our hips. So we want the same thing for babies so that they can be the most comfortable, and that's going to help them to latch on in the best way possible. So we're going to turn the baby so that baby is positioned so that their ears are in line with their shoulders, are in line with their hips. And the best way to do that is that baby's belly or tummy is always going to be next to mom. Now you can breastfeed in a variety of positions, and you can even make up your own as long as you remember the tummy to mummy and nose to nips, which we're going to get to in just a minute. So when you do tummy to mummy, you can put baby's tummy across mom's tummy or belly with that skin to skin. You could have baby in the football hold position where they're coming across the side towards the breast. Again, notice that baby's belly is towards my body. It's not my tummy this time, but it is still my body, and that's what we want. You can also do a laid back breastfeeding position where you're reclined back, hopefully in a more comfortable chair than this. And again, baby's belly should be on to mom. Whether that be if you're in a position where you can lay completely down and have baby coming across the shoulder over to the breast, that's fine too, as long as, again, baby's belly is on mom. So we want tummy to mummy, and that should align the ears, shoulder, and hips nicely together. All right, the next thing that we need to work on is the nose to nips. And when we say nose to nips, that means that before a baby is actually attached to the breast, we want their nose to the nipple. And you can see here on my breast, we have the breast tissue, we have the areola represented by the darker area, and we have the nipple right here that's sticking out a little bit inside the areola. So we want baby aligned so that their nose is next to that nipple whenever they're latching on. And I know this seems weird because obviously baby's not going to be inhaling the breast milk through their nose, but when they are aligned this way and their head is allowed to bring back, and you don't need to pull the head back, but allow their head to move back, you're just giving it gentle support. Allow the head to move back. When they come on, they are going to latch on in a way that is going to put the nipple of the breast on the top of baby's soft portion of their upper palate. We call that the nipple comfort zone because that's what's going to be the most comfortable for mom and increase the best milk flow into baby's body. So if you take a moment and you feel across the top of your mouth with your tongue, you'll feel starting at your teeth, hard, 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 soft. Soft is where we want mom's nipple in baby's mouth, on that soft part of their upper palate. We don't want it shooting straight back into the back of their throat. We kind of want it resting on that soft part of their upper palate. When we do what's called a symmetrical latch and we put baby's mouth perfectly centered on that breast, what happens is that a lot of the times the nipple ends up actually on the tongue rather than on that soft part of the upper palate. And when you think about your mouth, you have this big hole opening, you have your actual opening of the mouth in the center of all that space, but what is the whole bottom half of that space filled with? It's filled with your tongue. The top half of the space is open, the bottom half is filled with tongue. So we don't want the nipple going straight back into the middle because it's going to get squished against the tongue and the roof of the mouth. You can see this evidenced when baby breaks off or when the latch is removed. The nipple will be kind of flat so that it's not nice and round the way it was when it went into mom's mouth. It's now actually more flat, or one side will be flat and the other part will be round. That's a wonderful indicator that baby is not getting the asymmetrical latch that we want. So rather, we want that nipple to go more into the top of the mouth than into the very middle of the mouth. Another way to think about this is if you were going to eat a sandwich, let's say a big, giant, thick burger, you're not going to be eating that sandwich by sticking it straight into your mouth. You're typically going to eat that big sandwich by going, ah, oh. And you're going to start out by putting it on the bottom of your mouth and then pulling the top of your mouth down over top of it and taking a bite. Your breast is that big sandwich that your baby's trying to get a bite of, and so we want to do the same thing with baby's mouth. So we put baby aligned nose to nips. We allow their head to come back, and then when they come on, they're going to come on in that asymmetrical position so that that nipple, let's say this is baby's mouth, we got it aligned up here with their nose. See, so now that nipple is towards the top of the mouth, and that's what we want. If you notice when this happens that most of the areola, and this is going to depend on how big mom's areola is. Some moms have very large areolas, and some moms have very small areolas. But typically, you want more areola, or more of that dark area of skin that surrounds the nipple, to be visible above baby's top lip than to be visible below baby's top lip. In many cases, this may mean that you don't see any areola under baby's top lip because it is all inside baby's mouth, but there is areola visible still above baby's upper lip. And the reason that we want that is because that, again, is ensuring that that nipple is back into the comfort zone of baby's mouth. So we want to make sure it gets there. So just getting that asymmetrical latch is going to do so much for you. And the way this is going to look if you're doing this on an actual breast is that you're going to have your tummy to mummy as far as baby is concerned. And then you're going to line up their nose to your nipple. And give a little tickle if you want. And then you're going to allow baby to naturally move their head back and latch on at the breast. And now this baby latched on is in such a position that there is areola up above their mouth, but there's not really any areola down below their mouth. Also, ideally, their chin should be pushed into mom's breast. So their chin is doing some kneading action into mom's breast, which is good. And their nose is free from the breast tissue. Now, in women with very large breasts, sometimes that breast tissue may still kind of come down around their nose. Typically, you don't have to worry too much about pushing the breast tissue away from baby's nose. If baby cannot breathe, they're going to break off and go at it again. So you don't generally have to worry about that too much. And they just need a little tiny little bit of spot opening right there to get air into that nostril so that they can still breathe while they're breastfeeding. So that's what we're going to go for. Tummy to mummy, nose to nips, so that they can get that in. Now, some women like to breastfeed so that they're holding the head with this hand. I think that that can be a great way to do it. When you go like this, it's kind of hard to control where the head and all that is going, and you can feel a little more awkward. When you go like this, you just want to make sure, though, that you are not controlling the head with your hand. I have to do it with this doll because obviously it's not real and it can't control itself. But even a newborn baby has amazing head and neck control, and they are typically able of maneuvering that action themselves. So all you have to do is just provide some kind of fingers for them to kind of rest their head on so that they're not all floppy to the side, and they'll naturally draw back. And then you're going to want to hold your breast tissue so that that breast is going in, again, nose to nips, so that the jaw comes on first, and we're getting more of the bottom part of the areola into baby's mouth than the part of the areola that's up above their nose. Another thing to think about if you're going to hold your breast while baby is breastfeeding, to kind of cup it and get it into their mouth, which isn't necessary, but if you choose to do so, it's important again to think about a sandwich. Breastfeeding is all about eating, so we're going to relate it to eating. If you were to eat a sandwich, you probably wouldn't be eating your sandwich like this. It just doesn't make much sense. You would hold your sandwich like this, so that the skinnier part is coming towards the corners of your mouth, or the skinnier part is more up and down to your mouth, so that your corners or the wider edges of your mouth are getting the wider part of the sandwich. So when you're thinking the same way with baby, let's say you were going to do the cross clutch hold here, you would have your breast here, and you would want to come down and cup that and squeeze it, so that you are making a sandwich that is skinnier in relation to the way baby's mouth is coming on. So you would want to feed baby the sandwich the right direction versus cupping your breast in a way that's going to put the widest part of the sandwich into baby's mouth. So if baby was in this position, I would not want to be holding my breast like this, because that's just too wide to get into their mouth. We want to hold it over here. Another thing is that whenever you're holding your breast to give it to your baby, don't pinch up real tight. Baby doesn't want a little nibble. They want the great big bite. So pinch up higher up on the breast, several inches away from the areola, and offer it to your baby that way, so that they're not just getting this tiny little bit, which also makes it harder for them to get that asymmetrical latch because your fingers are in the way. Then whenever it's time, baby's done eating, or you need to break baby off for some reason, the best way to do so is to take your little pinky finger, hopefully it's clean, and we're going to stick it down in the corner of baby's mouth, just enough to break that seal so that baby can come off. You never want to just pull baby off your breast, because they're going to take that tissue with it and it's not going to feel very good. So we want to just break that off so they can naturally come off a little bit on their own. If baby's on there and you're looking at them and they're sucking and everything seems great, but you notice that they don't have that asymmetrical latch, then it's not a bad thing to go ahead, break them off, and try again. If you allow baby to continue sucking, and sometimes you hate to disturb them because everything's going well, you're going to end up with those cracked, bloody nipples, and then you're going to end up hating the fact that you have to breastfeed. And every time baby wants to breastfeed again, you're going to be terrified, and you're going to be nervous, and you're going to be reluctant to do that. So it's better just to break them off and try going at the procedure again, so that you can get a good latch. And it may take several times to teach both you and your baby and to form a habit of getting that good latch, so that you don't have to worry about the pain and the discomfort that can come from breastfeeding. Breastfeeding should not be painful or uncomfortable, and if it is, then you need to let somebody know so that they can help you to figure out what is going on and to work with you to develop a plan that is going to help you to be the most comfortable while you breastfeed, because that's the best thing for you and for your baby and, of course, for your breasts. All right, thank you.